What's up, boys? Today I'm going to design a character for the element nature, the second one in my series. Tell me which one I should draw next. I already started drawing a pose and face. Now I'm designing some clothes for him. His name is Basil. He's from the Nature Kingdom, and if you watched my last video, you know that he's friends with Annie. And while I'm drawing, let's talk about the story, shall we? Basil is kind and always cheerful. He's the happy character. He's from the Nature Kingdom, not to be confused with the Earth Kingdom. The Nature Kingdom cares about animals and plants. They are making sure they are able to live a great life. Basil himself has two siblings. He's the oldest one, so naturally he takes care of them. Unlike the Fire Kingdom, the Nature Kingdom is friends with every other element. They are known for being trusting and helpful. They collaborate and trade with other kingdoms often. For example, with the Water Kingdom. They make sure to help with their sea life, and the Water Kingdom helps them with keeping the plants alive, especially in summer when it doesn't rain. Basil has many friends, but his dearest one is Danny. He's a water element. They met when they were kids, and since then nothing can separate them. They have a shop together, where they sell flowers or gardening services for other elements. Since their powers are harmonizing, they work great together and everybody likes them. In the Nature Kingdom, there are many kinds of powers. For example, healing with the help of plants or mushrooms. But Basil, he is one of the lucky people to have gathered the power to grow nature from nothing. You see, his power is rare in the Nature Kingdom. There are only a handful of people able to do it. Basically, he can grow everything. He can grow plants, mushrooms, trees, grass, anything you want. So naturally, Basil is highly looked upon. He helps with keeping plants alive, growing new ones, growing food, and so on. But Basil doesn't want to be treated like a special person because of his powers. He knows that his powers must be treated with respect. He doesn't use it that often, since he believes that he shouldn't force something to grow and let nature grow it itself. But if there are problems that he can solve only with his powers, he will do so for the greater good. You would think that his powers would be more common in the Nature Kingdom, but over the centuries they became rare, ever since the Fire Kingdom was at war with them. Fortunately, there are no current wars being held, but you can't ignore the dangerous tension coming from the Fire Kingdom. One day, when Basil went deeper into the forest to search for some mushrooms that a healer requested, he saw an unusual light. As he went closer and hid behind a tree, he saw a fire girl. His eyes widened with surprise and slight fear. He never saw a fire element before. Not even his parents were able to see one. The Fire Kingdom is isolated somewhere, and he has heard rumors that they had a civil war and ended up extinct. since no one ever saw them or their kingdom for years after they stopped the war. He watched her in awe, trying to see if she was dangerous. He immediately thought that they may start a war again, and that she's going to set everything on fire. As he shivered in fear, he kept on watching, but the girl seemed to look around. She turned around and picks up a flower, smiling at it. As Basil caught a glimpse of her green eyes, he seems to loosen up. She doesn't look dangerous at all. The flower she held in her hand started to burn and turn into dust. Her smile faded as she looked at the dust in her hand. She looks sad, and Basil slowly steps out from behind the tree, her light and warmth being kind of comforting. He never saw such a beautiful light before. He stepped on a branch, which made a noise underneath his boot. He froze and looks up. She noticed him. Basil thought that she may attack him, and that this was a trap. But instead, her face lights up and she smiles, waving her hands and greeting him. That was the story, how Basil and Annie first met. After that, they started talking and hanging out. Annie told Basil about the problems in the Fire Kingdom, with her father, the king, and Basil wanted nothing more than to help her. He kept on going into the forest to meet her, keeping it a secret since the others would be scared of her. Danny, his water friend, started getting suspicious, since Basil would constantly leave, and followed him once. Once he saw her, he was shocked. The next part of the story is going to continue with Danny, the water element. So let's talk about the design for Basil. Since Basil is the element of nature, I wanted him to have leaf hairs and a deer-like appearance. So I gave him long elf ears and light spots to support this deer vibe. His clothes are also nature themed. I gave him a lot of pockets, since he collects all sorts of plants for his shop. He wears a cape that resembles leaves. His color palette is kept in natural colors, green, brown and beige. I wanted his eyes to shine, so I ended up giving him blue eyes, which also work great with the nature theme. For the drawing itself, I decided to show him on a walk in a forest to show where he lives. I drew a sky behind him so that I have a contrast between the green trees and his green clothes and hair. But since I drew Basil so small, I decided to include a detailed version of his face, since I can't draw faces this small and make them look good. You're going to see this just in a minute or so. In the end, I wish that I included something red in his design, so that he would stand out more from the environment. But it works like that as well. The one thing I hate most about this drawing are his boots. I never practiced drawing shoes, so it kinda looks weird. So I'm sorry for that. The back one was mostly free-handed. I had a reference for it, of course, but mainly for the pose, but I changed the back one, since I wanted to have a contrast in the sky, like I said earlier. I kept the back one loose and without line art, so that the focus would be on Basil himself. This entire drawing is basically made out of watercolors and then a layer of gouache on top of it. I was sort of scared that the green of his coat would bleed into the background, but in the end I think I made it work. You can always leave me feedback in the comments, you know. The thing I like most about Basil himself is his leaves hair. I never drew leaves as hair. You know, I actually did write a script for this video, but my problem is that apparently my scripts are way too short. Because I'm already finished and I'm not even halfway done with the video yet. You can also let me know if you like the way I edit the video. Like, I can always make it shorter, but like leave less process in for maybe the sketching part. Or make it longer. I can also make it longer, but then I need something to talk about in these videos. I'm trying to space my talking out a little bit more so you can maybe enjoy the painting process more. When I first sketched this pose, I really had big problems with the perspective of his left foot. But technically it would be his right foot, but it's on our left. Like the foot that is behind the stone. The rock? I don't know. I think it worked out. Like I said, I had a reference pose, so I tried to copy it. But I still have human flaws in it, you know. If you liked the video, please leave a comment on what you think about Basil and his story. And if you want to see me draw more elements and make a story about them, also, if you would be so kind and leave a like, I would appreciate it. This like can help me more than you think.